What's good, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Kyle Weisch, and I'm really excited to have my friend Martyn here with me today. Welcome, Martyn.
Hey, Carl.
Yeah, sweet. So basically, I met Martyn in the Oxford Union in August last year, where we attended the Vitar Live event from our mutual friend Ian Nagy, who is running the Inceptly agency and who also is the owner of the SaaS business Vitar, right? And it was a super interesting mastermind event with crazy speakers like Peter Kell, Will Hodges, Chris Haddad, Paris Lampropoulos, Johnson Lee, and like all of these industry heavy hitters. And I enjoyed it so much. And I also got to spend some time with Martyn. And I just met him again in Dubai. And quick background for him, he's a serial entrepreneur, done over 70 million in sales, brought a lot of businesses to multi-seven figures, has a podcast, published books, has a huge community, mastermind, everything himself, and just a really interesting person to talk to. And I wanted to get him on this channel specifically to talk about his brand NooBru and just kind of go through the whole case study, because I really like the way that he approaches the business and how he scaled it. And he has a lot of unique accesses, which gives him a competitive advantage. So we are just going to talk about that today. I'm going to give over to you so you can introduce yourself too, and then we're going to jump straight into the case study.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for having me, Carl. I'm excited to be here. And yeah, it was an absolute pleasure hanging out with you in Dubai and in Oxford before that. And yeah, that was one of the heavier hitting VIP dinners I've been to in Oxford. That was a serious table. That really was. A lot of stuff going on the internet just from those people. So yeah, I'm happy here to share and to give value. And the reason for that, and the reason that I go to the efforts of publishing books and the podcast and so on, is I'm on a mission to turn really good entrepreneurs into enlightened entrepreneurs. So I want to share things that will make you more successful, but at the same time, I want to remind you of your responsibility as a successful entrepreneur to use your influence, wealth, success, whatever, to make the world a little bit better, to conduct your business in a way that is a win-win, a win for you, but a win for the world in some way, right? That means charitable efforts. That means doing things the right way. That means being more eco-friendly, more green, more whatever. Just try and do it for good, right? Don't be a cigarette company where the more successful you are, the more people get cancer, right? Do the opposite of that. Okay. So that's my caveat here, but we can focus wherever you like, Carl. And I'm more than happy to delve into NooBru and talk about how we do things differently and how that's resulted to 2022 was our best year ever, right? A lot of people were hurting from iOS 14 changes and recessions and Russian wars and things like that. But we had a great year. We had a fantastic year. We're recording this in April. March was our best month ever. It beat February by about 30-40%, right? We're on an upwards trajectory. And I do feel like that's as a result of a lot of extra work maybe that went in the early stages, and a lot of just doing things differently, just innovating, doing things in the ways that the gurus aren't telling us to do because, you know, everyone's doing it that way. Just things like that. So I'm happy to jump in and start wherever you want to start.
Sweet. First of all, I fucking love your energy that you're bringing on the show. That's amazing. So let's get started with, how did you found NooBru? How did you get started with that product specifically? What was the journey of the brand that got you to where you are now?
Absolutely right. So let's go back to 2018. So 2018 was the kicking off point really for the planning, the 2-year planning stage for NooBru. At the time, I had a multiple 7-figure legging brand called ustatement.com. I think it's still online. I sold it in 2018. And part of the reason I sold that was because I don't give a fuck about leggings. I didn't understand why our customers were buying the leggings. I didn't feel great that like I was saving lives, changing lives, bringing massive value. It wasn't something that particularly interested me. And so I didn't really have an interest in scaling it further. And at the same time as well, I also had a multiple 7-figure SaaS company doing really well that was taking up like 20% of my time when the e-commerce brand was taking up 80% of the time. The SaaS was more profitable because you're selling pixels in SaaS, right? And, you know, so it was an easy decision to make. Sold that in 2018, and then started the process of going like, what is going to be this big thing, right? What is going to be the brand, the household brand that's going to be sold internationally, that is going to help our customers who can afford us? It's going to help people that wouldn't even dream of buying our thing because they've got a really, you know, horrible, harsh living circumstances. And we're going to help even those people that won't even have heard of NooBru even after we've helped them. How are we just going to operate in a way that is exciting, innovative, and is going to keep my attention for at least 5 years, right? We're all entrepreneurs. We all have shiny object syndrome. We all, you know, like opportunity, right? And we're all trying to teach ourselves to say no more. But even in our brands, we need to try and architect our brands in a way that will keep our interest and keep us excited. So this process that began in 2018 was a floor to ceiling whiteboard where I was just writing things on it at first. And, you know, one of the questions was, how can I keep this interesting for me? How can I change the world with this? How can we do something different? How can we innovate? How can I sell to people who I find interesting, which for me is entrepreneurs, absolutely. But I'm also a passionate cricketer. How can I create a product that both cricketers and entrepreneurs are interested in, right? And also architects, and also students, and also, you know, athletes, and also like crazy, right? And so it just took a lot of planning and asking questions in different ways to begin to populate this board. And where I landed on was the early iteration of NooBru. And NooBru is a drinkable, a delicious, no less drinkable nootropic supplement. Okay, it is a blend that doesn't exist anywhere in the world, because we started from scratch and we didn't want it to exist already in the world, in flavors that don't exist in the world, right? Delivered as a powder like this in eco-friendly paper-based sachets. You mix it to water. I'm nearly through mine, but I can just show you a little bit of it here. You mix it with water to make a fantastic drink that feeds your brain. And a nootropic is anything that gives your brain a boost in some way. All the things our brains do, from memory, creativity, recall, motivation, sleep, preparation, all the things that our brain does. You want to feed that brain, right? You want to find that edge. You want to find that performance increase. Nootropics is a great way to go. But there's nootropics like Adderall, or nootropics that make you like very, very jittery or very highly strung, where for every benefit you get on the performance side, there's also a downside, a drop in sleep, a drop in performance the next day, a crash, a mood shift, something like that. And so we wanted to create a product that was a blend of potent, safe nootropics that doesn't have that downside, right? You could take it every single day and you're just going to feel great. The day's going to feel easier. You're going to feel happier. You're going to feel more alive, more switched on, but you're not going to sleep shitty at that night, right? You're not going to feel bad. You're not going to feel depressed. You're not going to feel jittery whilst you're on it. Really, really difficult. This stuff doesn't exist. This stuff didn't exist, but you know, we had to start somewhere. And for us, we weren't in a hurry. We just wanted to create something that was great. So NooBru started like that. In fact, it started as a gummy. It was going to be NooChew. It was going to be a nootropic gummy, until we learned that the minimum order quantity was 2 tons, which is about, if you want to visualize 2 tons of gummies, it's about the size of a large truck, like an articulated lorry kind of thing. That's the pile. It's a lot. So we switched to a different mechanism.
I really like that backstory. And it also shows that in order to have a success really for long term, you gotta actually have a unique product, right? Because if you're like the 200th D2C brand that's selling leggings, you gotta find some like new marketing or new angles, or you gotta churn through creatives or something like that. And I really like that approach of building a new product from scratch that nobody else has. How did you go from building the product to finding the perfect product market fit with your target audience?
Well, let's talk about that as well, because there's a lot of benefits to going the extra mile and innovating and making something that doesn't exist. And I mean, a lot of reasons. I'll give you a really, really recent example. We've started onboarding a lot of affiliate partners that are driving great sales for us, right? And the reason they enjoy working with us is because their biggest pain point as an affiliate is every time they create an amazing ad, amazing creative and an effective thing, they get ripped off by other affiliates. The other affiliates will get the same deal with the same product, out there. Or if it's just like a leggings brand, they'll just go, okay, I'm just going to use your ad and point it at my leggings as an example. And then it's a race to the bottom and suddenly, you know, neither creative works. Whereas we've got affiliate partners that love it because in their ad, they can talk about the delivery mechanism, the fact that it's a drinkable nootropic. They can talk about the fact that it's sugar-free, it's eco-friendly, it's plant-based, it's paper packaging, and that we work with celebrities like Randy Couture. And suddenly other affiliates can't compete with that. They haven't got a corresponding offer that they can drive that traffic to. They need to come to us to work with us. And at that point, there's a little bit of, you know, we're able to police that a little bit better, right? If they're just ripping the same ads, well, you know, we see that as the brand, we see both of that, and we can make sure that that doesn't happen. So affiliates have a longer lifespan with our product because it's unique, okay? And it doesn't exist elsewhere. And we can talk about that. It's newsworthy. More people are interested in it because they haven't seen it before. It's new to them. And that's yet another reason not to be a Me Too type brand. So you're going to have to remind me of what you asked, Carl. I just wanted to point that.
No, I really like that. That's totally pointing into the direction I was going for. Like, how did you find the initial product market fit? Like, how did you make sure that people really understand the value of this unique new product?
Brilliant. Okay, so when you start with like new products, there's different ways that people tend to go. They either niche right down. They go, right, I'm going to cater to doctors that are female and live in this location and like netball, and they niche right down, you know, and that's how they start. Or you can start with a ginormous market. All right, now, technically our customer base is anybody with a brain and who wants to use it, right? Which is like a large number, but that creates another problem. We all know how to niche down and why we niche down so that we can speak that customer's language and we can talk about that customer's pain points because we're able to research those before we write the copy. But when you're suddenly catering for everybody, you're catering for nobody. If we started talking in general terms like, hey, do you want to get more out of your brain? You know, the response is a big fat meh from our customers. But the reason for that is because if you talk to, say, one of our customers, our avatar of like grandparents, right? Grandparents who have spent decades on this planet cultivating memories, right? And they're you know, they've spent so long with all of these amazing memories, all their travels, all their whatever, and all they want to do is hold on to those memories, but they feel like those memories are like water in their hands, trickling through their fingers, and they're trying to hold on to them. They're looking for anything that can help them hold on to their memories. Okay, so that's how we might talk to someone who is coming at it from I want the memory part of my brain to work better. But if I was talking to a student studying for exams, then I'd be talking about, you want to retain that information that you've revised and be able to regurgitate it when it comes exam time under pressure. Okay, so it's a completely different measure. So what we did and the product market fit, we were looking at, right, okay, so technically we can sell to anyone. Fine. Now let's drill down and we can niche down. And rather than only going after, the female teachers living in this country who like netball, we can find all of these individual things and we can sell the same product, but to multiple different avatars, multiple different niches. And so we can still sell to that massive number of people, the people with a brain, but we can drill down. We can drill down to golfers that are looking to, knock a few shots off their game. We can drill down to businessmen who want to stay sharp during negotiations. We can drill down to the students, the athletes, the emergency services. We can drill down in any way we like because the initial market that we've picked is so large. And so that's how we do it. And that's how we're able to tap into the kind of scale of our space. But we're able to hone in that product market fit and the copy so that it's still effective.
What I really, really loved about that exam, and it was brilliantly made from you, is that you weren't even talking about the product or the direct benefits in terms of increased concentration or higher brain capacity or whatever. You did it that it was a really compelling story, right? I got listening to you, I got so sucked into the story of this. I had a grandpa in my mind who was going through memories and he was losing the memories. So I love that a lot. And it's also what I always like to emphasize is really focus on the emotional value that it gives to your customers, right? And like following what you just did, the whole analysis of, okay, we have this product that we can basically market to everybody. Let's find different angles and different value propositions. And then based on that, different product market fits in that sense, right? Because you're saying the same product, but to like different audiences with different angles. Let's talk about the creatives in the next steps. Is it like the next logical step that just based on the angles, you came up with like the creatives and then you're basically just pushing it to them?
Yeah, so let's I sort of teased that earlier on. I said like 2022 was our best year ever, whilst a lot of people were hurting, and that was probably a little bit mean of me because if you're one of those people hurting, I feel your pain. I do feel your pain. We've had struggles with NooBru. I've had struggles in previous businesses, of course. Everyone has, and anyone who tells you that they've just been successful nonstop is a liar, right? So the real reason I believe on the marketing side, on the creative side, that we had success in 2022 was we changed where our focus was. Now, I've been talking about this for a while. Even in my book, 1% Secrets, I talk about the compounding effect of 1% incremental changes. The fact is your customers are going through a journey that starts with them clicking on an ad, then they're going to maybe a landing page like an advertorial or something, then product page, then checkout, and then post-purchase checkout, hopefully, and then like repeat purchase. There's a number of different stages in the customer's journey. And I talk about in the prelude to my book, how if you improve 4 separate stages of that customer journey by just 1%, the compounding effect of those 1% gains is 400% more revenue. Okay. And so we are, if you want to believe social media and what you see in the ads from the gurus, everything is an ad problem, an advert problem, an ad problem, right? And so the solution is to get that 6 to 10 grand a month agency to work with them, to churn out 1,000 creatives a second, to get those tiny little incremental gains on Facebook, right? And I didn't want to be a part of that rat race. I just didn't. We basically created ads that were engaging enough. Now, for us, that's sort of a 4 to 6% click-through rate on cold traffic. We're getting sub $1 CPCs on those ads, and we're typically not running through our NooBru page. Those of you who are already firing up your spy tools, we're running through multiple different like third-party pages and so on Facebook, and we have different tactics across the other channels, right? But rather than trying to eke out another, get that CPC down from 70 cents down to 60 cents or something, we were like, well, if that's like we could work our asses off now for a month to just get that kind of gain. Is there somewhere else in the customer journey where we could get a much bigger gain with way less effort? So we looked at our ads and we went, our ads are fine. So we looked at our advertorials, which is the next stage. We spent a good amount of time optimizing our advertorials. We went through 20, 30, 40, 50 different versions, split testing headlines, split testing imagery, split testing style of the page, font size, length, time till the first call to action, all of this stuff to get to our advertorials to what we felt was, again, a great rate. At the moment, about 45% of visitors that come into our advertorial leave through one of our call to actions. It's a long form advertorial. So 45% click-through rate. We think that's really good. And so we would leave it there. We're not trying to eke out another couple of percent. Now we're looking at maybe like our product page. If you've got a product page that's performing at a sort of a 1%, 2%, 1.5% kind of conversion rate, the good news is you could double that. You could double that, which literally means twice as much revenue, right? And all you need is one more person out of every 100 that visit your page to buy. One more person, right? So if you've got like a 1% conversion rate, 99 people out of 100 are leaving. That is a huge opportunity for you to make that just 98 people leaving or 97 people leaving, right? That's way easier and frankly, way more affordable and way more in your control than trying to play the unwinnable game of ad algorithms with Facebook as they're changing everything and things break, and when things are competitive and people are ripping your ads. That's a much better place in your funnel to be focused on. So we actually optimize our ads to a stage. We optimized our advertorials. Our product page is where we're currently working. But what we've done from the very beginning with a different company of mine is we've developed a custom checkout technology, which is really, really important. We felt like the existing checkout options that are out there just weren't good enough. They were slow loading. They weren't truly international, so displaying prices and actually charging the customer in their own currency, mobile friendly with all the mobile payment options, workable, and this is a big one, workable with payment processors that are actually like sub 1% payment processing fees rather than like the 3% that Stripe charges, all of that stuff. And we felt like the only way to do this is to build our own. So we built our own in a way that NooBru is a client of it, but it accepts other clients and we have other clients using it. And that enabled us to optimize the purchase and the post-purchase part of the funnel. And we were able to take our average order value from around $47 to around $130 and $140 in about 6 months by optimizing the upsells and optimizing the upsells so that it's in line with the whole customer journey. So if we're selling to a firefighter that wants to stay switched on whilst he's charging into a burning building, let's make the ad, the advertorial, the product page, the checkout, and all the upsells all about charging into a burning building, right? And why this product will help you with that. Okay. And when you start making that coherently through your entire funnel, you will see your results improve. You will see your AOV go up. You'll see your conversion rates go up. And so as I said, didn't focus on the ads. We got the ads to a stage and then we're just like, that's fine. We'll just keep those in a holding pattern. We focused on the areas that are within our control. And that's how we were able to scale. We were able to reduce our CPA, increase our average order value, which meant we could then increase the spend on our ads and still keep our ROAS in a range that we were happy with and could scale with. And so that would be my sort of first thing I would be saying to anybody that's listened and watched this far is, do you know your numbers at every stage of your funnel, right? And if you do, put those into a spreadsheet, and then underneath those, put in what the kind of industry standard numbers are, like a kind of range. If you're not sure what those are, ask some of your friends in the industry, Google, ask ChatGPT, whatever you like, find those numbers, all right? And then if you've got a number which seems really out from like where it kind of should be, focus there. So nowhere else in your funnel for a week at least. Just drill down on that bit. If it's your product page conversion rate, then start looking at product pages that are out there. Start looking at all different ones out there. How are they laid out? Is the price reveal above the fold or later? Is it big? Is it small? How are they? What questions are they answering? If you look at the sections, rather than going, hey, that's pretty, hey, that's good, what question are they answering, right? If they're showing a comparison table, they're answering the question of how do you compare to others? If they've got like a guarantee, they're answering the question of what if I don't like it? Do I get my money back? Right? People are coming to the product page with questions, and the job of your product page is to answer those questions. What does it look like? How quickly can you ship it to me? Is it safe? What's in it? Who else uses it? Who else recommends it? What do your other customers say? Those are the kind of questions that your product page should be answering, but it gets all murky. It just gets murky. I'm not going to put all the blame on the gurus, but anybody that's kind of, selling these services, they want you to feel like it's really complicated and only they can solve your problem because that's how they get paid, right? But really, it's really simple. And you just need to put in the effort, the analysis, and block out all of the other distractions that you have as an entrepreneur and as a business owner for a little while, and just focus on that weak point of your funnel and improving that. And then everything else benefits. And then you have more customers and you have more repeat customers. Great. And you have larger lookalike audiences coming in, and you have more customer testimonials coming in, and you have more outreach from people that want to partner with you coming in as a result of you converting more customers by focusing on that area for a week. So that's how I would do it. That's how I would still do it. And on that same spreadsheet where you're mapping out where you are now, what the industry standards are, now add a third layer which says, what would my numbers look like if I could improve this step by this much? So you keep your ads the same on your spreadsheet, the same advertorial, same AOV, same conversion rate, same AOV. But now if I could improve my conversion rate and bring it from 1% to 2 or 2 to 4 or something, what does that number spit out at the end? What's my ROAS? What's my revenue? What's my CPA at that level? And if when you do that analysis, you go, whoa, I really like that new number, boom, there's your problem and solution. Drill down and focus on that. Work with Carl. I hear he doesn't get CRO nowadays.
That's super, super impactful. You've been talking about so much valuable stuff, and right, for me, like this is my day-to-day. I know exactly what you're talking about, but maybe for the people watching this, they are not 100% sure. They may not have like the visual examples in their mind. Could you jump into screen share, show your advertorial, show the product page, show the custom checkout, and kind of go through the whole funnel? I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Sweet, let's do it. I'm hyped. I'm pumped.
All right, cool. All right, so here's an example of an advertorial that's geared up to US customers. All right, so our advertorials, as part of our optimization, we also made it like location friendly. We have customers in 80 something different countries, and so it's important to speak to them. So whilst the headline calls out an important profession from Britain, this is actually our US funnel, okay, our US advertorial. So right here, we've gone through lots of different styles, and one of the things that we did when we were designing our advertorials is we started asking ourselves, so the avatar that we're going after, where are they spending time on the internet? What are they already consuming, right? And so we did our research, and it turns out that they were consuming the New York Times. And the New York, so this is styled like the New York Times, right? It's very, very, there's lots of white space. It's very, very clean. The font size, the style is all based on that, right? Because we know that that's a well-populated publication, and the people that we're trying to reach with this advertorial are already consuming it. Okay, so we've got we tested a lot of different headlines. Headlines is a big leverage point on your advertorial, subheadline and image. It's important to know that it looks great on mobile as well. You know, you know, all of these things, right, when it comes to advertorials. But as you can scroll down, I said like the first call to action, it's not like it's up here. It's, you know, the first one is here, and it's just a link. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure we've got enough above the fold to encourage them to start scrolling. And then we've got enough sprinkled in throughout the advertorial that if they're just skimming it, they can get the gist, right? We want to sprinkle in genuine customer feedback. In our case, we also included an interview I did with NBC. We included a video from a medical doctor. We've included where we've been featured and the publications that we've been in. We've actually been publishing way more than this now. We're talking about our guarantee, and then we're giving them an idea of what it's going to be like when they're trying NooBru. Okay, and so throughout they can decide that they're convinced at any point, and they can click any of the buttons, and it will take them through to the product page. Right. So we did a lot of innovation, a lot of split tests and optimizations on the advertorial. And, you know, that's what worked best for us. Now, remember, it's completely dependent on the traffic that you're targeting with your ads. It's completely dependent on who you're speaking to. It's completely dependent on the product you're selling. So, you know, you have to do the work. I think it's a bit of a theme in here. I'm not coming to say, oh, there's a magic money switch, magic money button. Again, if someone's telling you there is, yeah, take it with a pinch of salt. Maybe walk in the other direction, you know, give them a little slap. Like, it's not true, right? You have to do the work. So, you know, we did the work, we did the split test, we just had those on rotation, and we just started looking at, you know, which advertorial performed best. Now we're onto the product page. So the product page, this is one of many different styles of product pages that we have. Again, this is geared up for the US customers, you know, and we're immediately wanting to call out and answer questions that people are asking. So as I was mentioning earlier on, you know, people land on your product and they have questions. I will say, by the way, before I jump into this, advertorials, I'm a massive fan of advertorials, but I wouldn't always use advertorials. So I'm a massive fan of advertorials for any products where you can't immediately sell it visually, right? If I was selling a mosquito catcher, for example, like a bug zapper, I probably wouldn't use an advertorial, not immediately. I would probably be very visual with my ads, with my video ads, and I'd be showing, hey, here's what it looks like. Here's what it does. Here's a pile of bugs that have all been zapped. Here's the places you can use it, camping, at the home, in the whatever, right? It's great. It's used by loads of people. It has this many reviews. Click here to learn more. Knowing that by the time that people have clicked and they've landed on the product page, probably all they want to know is how much it costs. That's it, because they already know what it is. They already know that it works. They already know that other people use it and it's well reviewed. They're just looking to see, is it priced right? I'm going to buy. Does it pass my sniff test? Whereas if you're selling something like a supplement, for example, something where, if I was just talking about NooBru Advantage, I've got a packet here. It's like, well, here it is. It's in a packet. The packet's made of paper. Here's it's got this on the back. It doesn't really talk about the results and the benefits that they're going to get. And that's why you turn to stories to help them understand the benefits. And so stories can be delivered in the form of like advertorials and VSLs, things like that, right? So there's a place for each marketing tool. It's not just I'll just, I sell a tennis racket. I'll just create an advertorial. An advertorial would work for it, but I would start with something that's much more visual because, it's a visual thing. So now that we've gone through all of that, here's the product page. So we're trying to answer as many questions that they might have. If there's a problem, how do I get in touch with you? If I need my money back, how long will you back that up? Where does it ship from? Have you got the qualifications? What does it do? What's it made from? How many studies are behind the various ingredients that go in? If I was to buy those ingredients separately, how much would that cost? What is your specific ingredient label? What does it look like? Are you trying to hide behind proprietary blends, or is it actually much more transparent than that? What does it cost? What do I get? How are you going to incentivize me if I buy more? Who else uses it? What are they saying? How many reviews have you got? What are those reviews talking about? And then this is absolutely huge. And this is definitely a key way that you can go from being an entrepreneur to being an enlightened entrepreneur. Going back to that floor to ceiling whiteboard that I was talking about in the planning stages of NooBru, one of the things we said was, how can we make the world a better place as a result of us being successful in it? That was the question. And that led me to, okay, well, maybe there's charities we can support. Okay, cool. But I knew in the back of my mind that there's charities out there where not a lot of the money you donate goes to the charity. There's other charities out there where it's like, oh, it's cool that you're a charity, but the problem you're solving isn't really that important. Like someone that's fixing Californians' flip-flops on the beach as a charity, kind of thing. It's not really making the world that much better, right? And so this set us up to start doing research into charities and problems. So first what we did was we said, what is a massive world problem? And we looked at all these world problems, plastic in the ocean, environment, whatever, right? But we landed upon malnourishment. And it turns out that, a quarter of the planet is malnourished. So 1 in 4 people is malnourished, right? It's approximately 8 billion people on the planet. 2 billion of them are malnourished. Whoa, that's a big problem. Okay, so then we started looking at charities that are helping tackle that. And then we started jumping onto sites like givewell.org, which is an independent assessor of charities, and they rank the charities by how efficient they are, so how much of the money goes to the cause, how important the cause is in the grand scheme of things for the world. And then we started interviewing like the finalist charities, and the charity that we decided to work with was Project Healthy Children, run by a gentleman named Felix. And I've interviewed him. He's on my podcast. I interviews public. But, I wanted to make sure that the guy's legit before we started giving our money to him, right? But eventually we got to this point, and we're really, really proud of this. We've got a charitable mission to fortify 1 billion meals by 2025. And we're so transparent. It's on all of our socials. And every single order, every single time we sell something, we're fortifying at least... So we're fortifying at least one child's meals for at least a year. So we're fortifying the meals of at least one child for at least a year with every single order. Okay. And this is really, really important. So far, we have fortified more than 100 million meals. Okay, which is huge. It means that if NooBru goes down tomorrow, I can still be like, bitch, we fortified 100 million meals. What did you do to this? You know, like we've still got that to stand behind. But here's the magic, folks. If all you're hearing here is, it sounds an awful lot like you're asking me to give away some of my margin to charity. Kind of. Here's the cool thing that happens if you're thinking, what's in it for me, when you start doing a really, really authentic, compelling charity. Customers want to buy from you. Customers feel better buying from you, and they like that they're getting something extra in addition to their order. Customers, when you mess up, are more likely to forgive you because they can see that you're at least, you're a good brand doing good things. You can get press around this because you're not just there talking about like, hey, buy my stuff. You're actually talking about the one of the massive world problems that you're solving. And I would argue there's a sort of intangible element as you're going up Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you've got your shelter sorted, you've got your Lambos. That's not on his needs, but lots of entrepreneurs need that. There gets to this higher level of success where it doesn't, like, more money doesn't make you feel better, because what you need and what your soul needs to be happy is like legacy. You need to start asking yourself, like, when I die, what's going to be written on my gravestone? What do I want to be remembered for? What good am I doing? Like, am I helping people? Am I improving the world? Like, why do I exist? Those are the questions you start asking yourself. And if you've got something like this baked into your business, and it's very, very public, and people can follow along on your journey and along your mission, it's a driving force. It makes you feel whole. It really helps. So you've got a conversion rate increase. You've got your customers loving you more. You're doing good. You're a better human. It's a really, really good thing to do. It is a real no-brainer. All I would say is try and get back to a metric of good. So rather than just saying a portion of my profits goes to charity, actually let customers know like what will happen as a result of them buying. Justin at I Heart Dogs does a really good job of this. They're actually feeding shelter dogs. That's their charitable mission. And it will say, with this product, we feed 20 shelter dogs. With this product, we feed 10 shelter dogs. It's quantified. And then he has a ticker on his website about how many meals that they've, how many dogs they've fed, right? That's what customers want to see. And just getting to that point and doing the maths on, what does your donation equal in terms of the metric? That's where you want to get to. So this is huge, and it's really, really important. And over the coming months, we're going to spotlight this even more across our brand. Frequently asked questions in case they get this far. And then, when they're happy with what they want to buy, they can then, they can jump to the checkout. This is our custom checkout. This is just one of our designs. We have lots of different checkout designs that rotate. This is completely headless so far, right? We haven't been on any, we've been on our, subdomains and so on, right? It's completely headless, which is, I think, the best way to operate with cold traffic, right? You don't want to rely on slow loading servers. You don't want to distract customers with product collections and this and this. You just want them focused on the product that you've been talking about since they saw your ad, right? So we rotate through a bunch of different checkouts. We offer different payment options. If they're on mobile, they see other things. And then they go into the post-purchase experience, which, unless I do a purchase here, I can't show you. If you want to jump onto NooBru and buy something so you can see it, by all means. But that's the extra lengths that we've gone to. And you have to figure out, like, in your business, how you're going to be competitive. Supplements is an incredibly competitive space. I wouldn't have tackled it if this wasn't like my fourth or fifth time, at an e-commerce brand, if I didn't have a lot of success around me. But most importantly, or more importantly, didn't have a massive network around me. Another thing that was on that floor-to-ceiling whiteboard was board of advisors. I would recommend every brand, whether you started or you're thinking of starting, to do this, to look around, to look inwardly and go, what are my weaknesses? What are my gaps? What don't I know about running a billion-dollar company or a 9-figure company, or wherever you're aspiring to get to? And then going, who do I know who I could reach out to who could fill that gap? And reach out to them. Inspire them with your mission. What are you trying to solve? Again, this charity and this bigger mission is more important, right? They're going to listen to that rather than you going, I'm just trying to make lots of money and buy 10 Lambos, right? They don't give a fuck about that. No one gives a fuck about that except you. And you won't give a fuck about that when you have 10 Lambos, right? Like what they care about is your authentic story and the good and how you're trying to change the world and how you're trying to innovate. You hit not just your board of advisors, but partners, suppliers, anyone that you're potentially working with. Every single one of those conversations will go better when you have that authentic story with the charitable mission baked in, right? But when you're looking at your gaps and what you don't know about running a business of the size of the business that you're trying to get to, look in your network at people that do know about that, right? They do have experience with that, and make them an offer, right? Like in our case, it was a tiny bit of equity in NooBru. This is before we even launched. I had a personal relationship with all of them. And I said, hey, I'd like to give you a piece of NooBru in return for up to 4 hours of your time per month. Up to 4 hours. Most months you won't even hear me, but I just want to give you a piece of NooBru as like a retainer payment, if you like, so that if I have a burning question or a need, or I need connecting to someone, you're there to help me, right? And I was just looking at advisors that they reflected the gaps in my own ability, right? And that's what we did. And I actually asked 7 different people, got 7 yeses, which was fantastic. And not a month goes by without me sort of speaking to one of these advisors and saying, hey, here's the challenge, here's what we're trying to solve. What you got, what ideas have you got? And it has enabled us to grow quicker, faster, make less mistakes. We're still making mistakes, but make less mistakes, and just generally benefit from the collective experience and network and learnings and everything of the whole board of advisors, plus our board of directors, plus our friends, plus our partners, plus, all of this, because, it's lonely on your own. You won't have all of the answers. And, that's the solution to that. So I don't know what the question you asked about 3 weeks ago on this interview just then, Carl, but is my long-winded answer.
That was perfect, bro. I really like the roundup, especially like you showed all of the pages in the funnel, and then you really focus at the end on the good you do for the world. And I feel like this is the perfect message to kind of end this video, because it's like such a good point, and I also really like to focus on that. So thank you so much for your time. Thanks so much for being so open and sharing so much about that. And I hope that the people take a lot of value from this. Really quickly, could you talk about your podcast and your book and where people can find you to learn more about this stuff?
Well, given the talent of the people that follow you, Carl, I would say if you are currently an affiliate or a traffic owner of some sort, you want to work with us, reach out to me. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on the socials by typing in Martyn Cook. Smarter Destiny, NooBru, any of those, you'll end up on me. Reach out to me and let me know how you want to be a part of NooBru, how you see us working together, anything like that. I love hearing things. Obviously, we get a ton of inbound spam every single day, but let me know that you've listened to this podcast, you've watched this YouTube video, and I'll understand that you're qualified and and be excited to chat with you. In terms of my podcast is called Smarter Destiny Podcast. We've done something like 170 episodes with 7, 8, and 9 figure founders, all entrepreneurs of digital businesses. We've also had a couple of billionaires on there. You can learn from the likes of Dean Graziosi, Greta Van Riel, Nick Shackelford, Anik Singhal. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. We've had some huge heavy hitters on the show, and it's been really, really exciting learning from them and forging relationships with them. My book, I don't think you can now buy my book online. It's called The 1% Secret. But if you do want to reach out to me, you can email me, martin@smarterdestiny.com, and ask for a copy, and I'll send you over a PDF. No problem. Again, just let me know this is where I made the offer to you, and I'll get a copy over to you. But that's where we're talking about the compounding effects of those 1% incremental gains and why they're so important. The premise of the book is there's 50 chapters in the book, and each chapter focuses on an area of your business or your life and shows you how you can improve it by way more than 1%. but safe in the knowledge that if you only improve it by 1% and this piece by 1% and this piece by 1%, the compounding effect of all those gains is huge and massive and game changing. And so that book is my gift to the world, helping one-to-many, many entrepreneurs how to do that, and whilst reminding them of their responsibility to become an enlightened entrepreneur and use those new superpowers for good.
That's beautiful, bro. I really appreciate you doing all of what you're doing. So thank you so much for jumping on. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day, and hopefully see you soon somewhere on the road.
Sounds good. Thanks, man. It's been a pleasure.